Welcome back to the Navy Sports Magazine Show presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Navy Federal Credit Union is a proud supporter of Navy athletics. And with Army Navy on the horizon this weekend in Annapolis, we're joined by women's basketball head coach Tim Taylor. Tim, thank you so much for your time this morning.
I appreciate it, Tim and Alex.
Tim, what makes the Army Navy rivalry so unique to you?
I think it's one of those things where it's like no other rivalry. I've been a part of North Carolina, Duke, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, NC State. I tell people that the biggest difference is I think it's the greatest rivalry in sports. I really do. And we were sold out in North Carolina and Duke and NC State. But when you are at West Point, 5,000 people hate every move you make. Okay. And then when you're here at the Naval Academy, 5,000 people are cheering on and living on every basket, every turnover. And people are so invested that it's unlike anything I've ever been a part of.
Well, you've certainly seen your ladies have some success this year, off to a 5-1 start in Patriot League, albeit little unconventional fashion. Granted, you get the W in conference play, doesn't count towards your overall record. Lehigh having to forfeit that game. So, how do you keep your team fresh coming off of last Wednesday's win over American and look to keep it rolling, pick up your fourth straight win against Holy Cross?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just trying to keep that momentum that you're going. I think a lot of people are like, hey, day off, get your legs rested, but we really treated it like it was a Saturday game. We got in some scrimmage time. We put some different times in there. We prepared, for like it was Holy Cross on Saturday. So we actually were able to have our scout guys come in and work on some of that and really try to treat it Saturday like a game. We practice at 11 a.m. to try to get ready for next Saturday's game at 11 because we haven't had any of those games either. So I think just really trying to keep the momentum. But I will say this, Tim, it was weird on a Saturday practicing and not playing with everybody else. You could just feel it with our kids.
Tim, I see you're home right now. I need to know, how do you balance family life during the basketball season? I know we talk a lot about with the football staff about how they make it work from Brian Newberry all the way down through his program. How do you make it work for you and your staff?
Well, I think I'm in a little bit different place. I would think my wife Tanya would tell you, not a lot of balance, but I tell everybody if you're going to be successful in this business, you have to have a partner that understands what you go through. But I think I've always been good at trying to be a dad. I told people that most important thing for me was being a dad, not a college basketball coach. I think that's going to be my greatest accomplishment when it's all said and done. And just trying to. I think I really am good at trying to give my staff time. Because I know how much important family was to me when I was an assistant. So really trying to mitigate time in the morning so those guys are, they have availability to be able to do things with their families, be able to run around and get some things done. So I think really being conscious of that, and I think being older helps with that. So just trying to set aside time. Like Saturday, I set aside time and went to dinner with my wife and tried to keep that and some friends and try to keep it there. But it's not easy, Tim. It's a hard. But you have to be conscious. If you're not, it's not good.
When you were an assistant, who was a head coach maybe that made that so important that you thought, hey, I really want to emulate this when I am a head coach?
Sherry Carter, no question. My first coach, I think, when I got to the college level, I remember I tell people all the time what she said to me. She said, I don't care if you work from 8 in the morning to 8:30 in the morning. I don't care if you got to work from 8 a.m. until 8 a.m. the next day. Whatever you got to do, get me players, help me win games, develop our players. And however you do that, you do that. And I think I was probably more efficient then than I ever have been in my entire life. And I think because I knew time was valuable to her and she made time valuable to you. So whatever you need to do to get your work done, you got it. And you became really more efficient. And that's what I try to do here.
This Navy family off to quite the start. 5-1 in league action. You're tied for the top of the Patriot League. What has been the key to this start so far for your squad?
I think our connectivity. I think it's one of the big things that I've said all along. I think the best team wins the Patriot League, and I didn't say the best talented team or most talented team, but the best team. And I think the things that we do with sharing the basketball, I think our kids get along really well on and off the court. Of course, I mean there are issues here or there, but for the most part, I think our connectivity is what's been able to allow us to weather, the 3-game losing streak right there over a week, and I think it's allowed us to continue to get better.
You balked the best team. I'm going to say this with confidence. You got the best backcourt in the conference right now. How have you gotten both Sinai and Juliana, and now Zoe Misich, another freshman, to coexist so seamlessly?
Well, I think it goes back to the type of people you recruit. They were alpha scorers in high school. They were great players. I think the biggest thing is just getting them to understand in order to win, you have to share the basketball. You can't be ball dominant. But once again, I think it goes back to recruiting. It goes back to recruiting the right families. It goes back to recruiting the right players that really, truly want to win and they buy into that. You add Mary Gibbons to that, and you've got four really, really good guards who really want to score and can score the ball at all times. But I think that losing streak right there, that 3 game in that week where we lost from Duquesne to Radford and Iona, I think it opened our eyes and opened their eyes too, because we were ball begging, as we call it, and we were dribbling too much. We weren't sharing as much as we should have, and I think once they realized that if we share the ball and we move it, good things happen, and you've seen the results of that. I think the last 4 or 5 games.
Yeah, nearly 87 points per game during this 3 game win streak. The lone team in conference that stymied the offense so far has been Holy Cross. You get them again up at their place on Wednesday. How do you stop the Crusaders?
Well, I think the biggest thing is we just got to be more physical. I think they out physicaled us here. I thought they took the game to us, especially in the last 3 quarters. In the fourth quarter, we just didn't make shots. But once again, we've got to be way better defensively. We've got to be more attached defensively. We've got to be able to box out, keep them off the boards, and then we've got to get away from the uncharacteristic turnovers. We had 11 turnovers against those guys, but I think they turned them into like 12 to 15 points. I can think of 3 off the top of the head that we gave them 8 points, just like that. And unfortunately, Z didn't have a great game. She had 7 turnovers, but since then, I mean, she's had 20 assists to 1 turnover in 3 games.
Lastly, Tim, how exciting is it that if you do take care of business up in Mass, you come back to your place and you can play Armory for the top spot in the league?
That would be exciting. I think that is the fanfare that everybody wanted preseason 1 and 2, coming into Alumni Hall, CBS Sports. You can't write a better story. We still have to take care of business. We got to be 1-0 before we get to those guys. But I think it's exciting. I think jam packed, snow ridden with coming in here on Sunday. So. I don't think it can get any better than that. And I think, our men being number 1 in the league too, just adds fuel to the fire. I think there's some exciting pregame stuff that's going to be happening. So we're pretty excited about it. Just got to keep our kids level-headed and understand what the magnitude of this. It's not going to make or break your season, but the magnitude of Army. I think both teams could be 0-29, and whoever won that game, that's what matters. So we're excited about it.
Let's go. Tim, thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate it, and best of luck this week.
All right, thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
You have been listening to the Navy Sports Magazine Show, presented by Navy Federal Credit Union. Navy Federal Credit Union is a proud supporter of Navy athletics.